traumatizing, particularly for younger men and indeed for women. Hair plugs, transplants, potions, lotions, they've all been tried with varying success. Well, now scientists think they may have found a glimmer of hope through a drug that's been used on transplant patients and those with rheumatoid arthritis. Cyclosporine A, like all immunosuppressants, has side effects, and one of them is healthier hair growth. There's years of work still to go, but a team at the University of Manchester is hoping that they might be able to mimic that effect with a new compound. Let's talk about this with Spencer Stevenson. He describes himself as a hair loss mentor and co-presents The Bald Truth. That's a podcast about baldness. Hello, Spencer.
Hi.
And here with me in the studio is Dr. Hugh Rushton, a trichologist and hair loss consultant on Harley Street. And I suppose, Spencer, can I just ask you first of all about your condition? I mean, what's your hair like now, and when did you start losing it?
Well, I'm 42 years old now and I've got a full head of hair. I started to lose my hair at the age of 21 and through the process of trying pretty much everything, which a lot of hair loss sufferers do when they first realise they're losing their hair. I've spent quite a lot of money, but it resulted in various different treatments. But what I did realise is the treatments that do actually work, and I currently kind of take finasteride now to help with the progression of hair loss. It's stopped my hair loss because hair loss is progressive, and I've regrown hair where I didn't have it via a number of different hair transplants. So now I support quite a good head of hair, but it's not been a short journey by any stretch.
And just tell me about how difficult it was to lose your hair, to know that you were losing it at a young age, because as I said, it affects men and women, but a lot more men.
It was traumatizing for anybody to lose their hair. It's debilitating emotionally and psychologically, but at a young age as well, it's even harder. I mean, at a young age, life's hard enough as it is without dealing with hair loss, which unfortunately is out of our control. We feel it's out of our control. So it really affected my self-esteem and my confidence, and I was very vulnerable and very desperate, hence why I tried so many different treatments and made so many different mistakes along the way. Which is why I set up my own kind of platform to help educate and empower people to get accurate information.
So that people can talk about it with you, as they do with you, Dr. Hugh Rushton. I mean, you've dealt with this. You hear cases, presumably like Spencer's, people willing to pay a lot of money if they can sort this out. What are the treatments that you've found have been most effective?
Well, the most important aspect is that if you're looking at male pattern hair loss, then there are two regulatory enzymes which control the miniaturization. So the thick
miniaturization?
Hair, it makes the big hairs go finer and smaller and then disappear. And that's controlled by a molecule called DHT. It's made from testosterone. And right about 1994, through work that was going on in enlarged prostates, they actually found it grew hair. That's now transformed itself into a treatment which you can get from your GP. And if Spencer had taken that in 1994, he probably would have had more hair than he has now and would have been able to actually not necessarily have as many transplants. On top of that, we also have topical anti-androgens which block the other part of the story. So we can actually now, provided somebody's got hair, regrow hair, we can rescue some hairs, but we can't do everything. Now, this new research is basically any research which is helping influence hair growth, and this particular research, it's done by a very good group in Manchester, well respected. It's extending the life of the growing hairs, and that's all good news, and it means that we're all moving forward to help it, but it is not addressing the core issues with male pattern hair loss.
And it doesn't know for sure whether baldness could be reversed. I mean, for you, Spencer, I mean, obviously you must talk to people who are desperate for some help. They might have tried, homespun remedies, rubbing lemon juice on the scalp and so on. Did you try anything like that?
Oh, I've tried it all. Yeah, I've tried lotions, potions, different concoctions, because they'll go to any lengths to try and get the grasps and controls, grab the reins on their hair loss, because we are, unfortunately, very desperate. And to add insult to injury, meanwhile, hence it's a billion dollar industry. We will try anything, and we suffer in silence, and that's the desperate thing about hair loss. No one's there to talk to share those anxieties, because it's such a personal thing. We run a show. You introduce me as a co-host, The Bald Truth, and hundreds of thousands of people tune in to listen and talk about their hair loss issues, to share their anxieties, because it is a reality that people do suffer and have emotional trauma through losing their hair, because nobody would prefer to lose their hair. They'd much prefer to keep their hair.
Now, Dr. Rushton, there is of course the condition alopecia. Men and women suffer from that, but are the numbers significantly different between men and women when it comes to hair loss?
Yes, I mean, if you look at sort of alopecia, just means hair loss. Now, obviously, the one that gets most media coverage is alopecia areata. Unfortunately, it affects a small percentage of people.
Is that when every hair
you get patches of hair loss? Yes, and we do not know what causes it. Most cases regrow, but unfortunately for some individuals, the condition progresses, and you can have total hair loss. Now, there are new drugs coming through for those, and there is help. So there is hope for the alopecia areata sufferers. There's a bigger group of people, the women, for instance, who shed hair. Now, menstruating women have problems with iron, and iron we now know controls the hair shedding rate in a certain proportion, and it's due to a protein called epsidin. Now, nobody will have heard it, but it actually regulates iron into the body. It causes iron overload. And you can actually get this diagnosed with your GP. And if you've got a low ferritin, 34% of women will experience increased hair shedding. We have some evidence, which we published in The Lancet, showing that it can affect 10% of women with fertility. You then have the menopausal women who go through lack of estrogen, and they often develop thyroid disturbances, both of which can be treated medically, both of which can regrow hair, provided it's not gone past a certain point. The thyroid patients can all regrow hair.
Well, there you are. You're saying that there are ways that you can seek advice, and you can always listen to Spencer Stevenson as well. Thank you both, Spencer Stevenson and Dr. Hugh Rushton.